you're a leader, you are supposed to also take people under your wing, and you're supposed to teach them other things far beyond the work skill, to empower them. If you have the knowledge, you're supposed to share your knowledge with people. And because that empowers them and makes them a bigger and better person, and it provides opportunities for them to grow. And that's what we've done through also our foundation.
Your business is only as strong as your employees. So if you want to build a strong business, you need to hire the right people. But hiring high performance is just one part of the equation. Once you have top-notch employees on board, you need to bring them together and transform them into the most productive, effective, and team possible. And the key to making them happen is successful team building. Hello and welcome to the Honest Talk by Freak Folks. I'm Harsh Pandey. For this particular session, we have with us very special guest today, Ms. Liliam Lopez, ma'am. She's a founder of the South Florida Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and the South Florida Hispanic Chamber of Commerce Foundation, serving as the president CEO of both organizations since 1994. She has a Bachelor of Arts Degree with a major in political science from St. Thomas University and a certificate in Paralegal Studies from the University of Miami. She will be joining us today all the way from Florida. So first of all, ma'am, I welcome you to in this session. Thank you so much for joining and actually agreeing to share your thoughts with us.
Thank you, Harsh. What a pleasure for me to be here with you and say hello to all of the audience over there in India. We're far away, right? We're very far away from each other, but close because of technology.
Definitely.
Technology allowed us to meet through LinkedIn and to finally be able to have an opportunity to meet you and to talk to you and to say hello and send a warm regards to all of the people in India from here, from beautiful Miami. And the weather's very nice and it's in the morning now. And I know we're so far away, but I look forward to one day being able to visit India. I know that you are great people, extremely smart, and very, very much moving forward. India is a very, very nice country, and its people. That's the greatest resource. The people of India, the people that I've met, are all so warm and so welcoming, and they're similar to us Hispanics. And I'm Cuban American. You can imagine, because 70% of the population in Miami is of Hispanic descent, and we have people from all different countries of Latin America, but a lot of people are from Cuba.
This is really great, actually. And thank you so much, ma'am, for joining. It is really inspiring, and as well as it's our pleasure too. So moving to the topic of today's session, which we have chosen is why team building is the most important investment you will make. Boardroom around the world are abuzz with the talk of artificial intelligence, quantum computing, augmented reality, and automation. Today, innovation and technology is not about bits and bytes. It's about lives and livelihoods. But along with the technology, having a good team is equally essential. So my very first request to you is to please explain our viewers the importance of investing in team building. And also it would be great if you could relate with some of your personal life experiences.
Of course, yes. Team building is super important because I tell the younger generations, probably in the next decade, one of the most important skills that a person could have is interpersonal skills, because the younger generations are used to only being in a computer and only texting as opposed to talking. For one, I see my daughter, who's an engineering student who will graduate next year. Young people don't talk, they communicate via text to their friends. Then when they see each other, they talk. But in my times, we would always have to talk on the phone. So we are a generation of communication. And so the only way to really create a good team in your company, in your corporation, is by having communication skills. Everything cannot be automated. I hate it when I call somewhere and press 1, press 2, press 3, and everything is just via technology, which is great because technology has allowed us to like do what we're doing now. Exactly. I had the pleasure to meet you. I've met other people from India as well. And so it opens doors, and it's just like an equalizer, so that everybody knows in the world what is happening. But at the same time, if you lose that skill of the interpersonal touch of being able to communicate with your team, in your company, in your corporation, small business, medium, big, and if you don't have that interpersonal skill, eventually you will not succeed. You need to communicate verbally. Forget about the texting. That's all good. Social media is wonderful. It's opened a lot of doors, and it's a very nice and valuable source of communication, but it will never replace what we're doing today, because I will never forget you now, Harsh. I will never forget you. And I remember I was in a meeting with someone in the name of Gagan Arori, and I will never forget him either, because I saw him. We spoke. It's not the same as we just communicate via text and via LinkedIn. This interpersonal communication, and the same thing is for you in a company, team building with your staff. You need to communicate amongst each other, because eventually, if you don't communicate amongst each other, you are bound to make a mistake. And a failure or a mistake in a company is not accepted. And it could be because of lack of communication. And you need the oral communication.
Indeed, ma'am. I think actually you have very beautifully covered. And I must say that actually I like the way you have explained. You have also explained the importance of communicating with your team, why it is very important. And ma'am, my next question to you is actually just getting great talent or great leader in the door isn't enough. Once they are in, it's incumbent on you to make them feel like they belong. If you succeed, they will be their best selves, do their best work, and will likely to be more loyal, which will make the entire room more innovative and more productive. But the question arises, how do you see this? Like, in your opinion, what are the efforts we can practice inside the organization to make people feel like they belong?
Yes, I've always tried to make all of my employees feel welcome and as family, because if you are not sensitive to the needs of other people, they will not, in the long run, they will not be loyal. They will not produce as much as they can produce. You have to let them be, guide them, of course, be strict and tell them, I don't like this, this is the way it should be done, but in a nice way. I believe in the personal touch, in being nice and understanding, and at the same time empowering and teaching those that work with you. I have someone who's worked with me for 15 years, and that administrative assistant, who's now my executive assistant, has grown with me and learned so much, because this is probably one of the first jobs she ever had that was a real important job in an organization such as the South Florida Hispanic Chamber. So she's been able to grow not only in the business world, but also emotionally and spiritually, because I think that when you're a leader, you are supposed to also take people under your wing, and you're supposed to teach them other things far beyond the work skills.
Right.
You have to empower them. If you have the knowledge, you're supposed to share your knowledge with people. And because that empowers them and makes them a bigger and better person, and it provides opportunities for them to grow. And that's what we've done through also our foundation. We've provided over $800,000 worth of scholarships to financially disadvantaged students, because this is America, this is Miami.
Yes.
This is one of the most beautiful cities and prosperous of the world, but there is poverty. There are people that, like, for example, now I went to Washington, D.C. as part of our foundation, and we always do that. We have a partnership with Southwest Airlines, and we select a city, and we select a company that's a member of the chamber, where we take these students and we do conferences, so that they see that there's an opportunity, that there's other Hispanics, that there's other African Americans in top positions, that maybe they were poor like them, but they had their effort, they worked hard, and they made it happen. So you have to show them that there's a possibility and there's a world out there. And I'll give you an example. One of the students, he was a boy, and he was at 17 years old, and he was sort of like crying because it was a bumpy ride in the airplane. And he had never been on an airplane before. And I've had many students like that have never even been on an airplane. So sometimes people see Miami, you see the background, Miami technology, Miami's beautiful, tourism, the prices, the value of the properties are extremely high. But yes, there are neighborhoods that there are poor people, and not only scholarships, but we provide a program for, it's called Healthier Kids for Families, because there's a lot of people that buy fast foods. And we know that in the United States of America, the majority of the population are obese. Why are they obese? Because the food are not fresh. this processed food with hormones. And as a result of that, people tend to get obese, they get diabetes and heart disease. And probably that's why there have been so many deaths due to COVID in the United States, because of the comorbidities that they talk about that exists. And it's the obesity, the diabetes, and the hypertension. We have high blood pressure. So we need to teach our children at a young age to eat vegetables, to eat fruit. And then there are people that in poor neighborhoods cannot have access to that. So we have a program, Healthier Kids for a Future, where we bring chefs and we bring nutritionists and we bring doctors, where they talk to the parents, and we have the little ones and we put the little aprons on them and the chef's hat, and we show them the importance of eating a healthy diet and having a healthy diet, eating good foods, so that you avoid in the long run. And of course, the parents have to be involved, because they're the ones that have to learn about this, because we don't want to have a country that's full of people that are obese. And that happens in the United States of America because of the food, because of the hormones, and because of the fast foods. And we need to protect the population that way as well. And even though we're a business organization, we have the foundation part, which is the education arm of the South Florida Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
Exactly, ma'am. I think you have really covered, and you have touched some of the really basic things, and we need to actually understand, and we all need to work towards this. Really great. I must appreciate this. And ma'am, my next question to you is actually, although we very well know the merits of diversity and inclusion in today's world, everyone actually knows. What's less obvious is how to build an organization that genuinely nurtures them, how to build a diverse and inclusive organization. What are the ways, some of the ways would you like to recommend to our viewers?
For diversity and inclusion, that's what you're
Yes.
talking about? Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
yes, and actually, I am a columnist for the Miami Herald, a newspaper in Miami, and I coincidentally wrote about that in yesterday's newspaper, that diversity, equity, inclusion, that is all very important. Well, those are three little letters, and if they are not practiced, it's the same as nothing. And I have not seen yet, even here in Miami, where 70% of the population is Hispanic, I have not seen that the top positions are really filled by Hispanics or African Americans. Usually companies, big companies, don't hire from within. Even there is a pool of talent, they try to bring white male from other states. And I hate to say it that way, because that's the way now the United States is categorizing people, which I don't like to be categorized, because supposedly, according to the United States, now the new whatever it is, I'm supposed to be brown. I was born in Cuba, and according to my DNA, I'm from Galicia, Spain, my grandparents. So I don't know where the brown thing comes from. So they have everybody labeled. So now Hispanics are brown. And I don't like that. I don't like labels. And the United States is labeling everybody. And I think that is extremely wrong. But now that they decided to label everything and they have the DEI, I would like to hold all the corporations accountable for the DEI, and would like for them to embrace it the way they should be embracing it. And they should be naming Hispanics and African Americans to corporate boards. They should be hiring in large hospitals, in corporations, the Hispanics and the African Americans, and more so Hispanics that are 70%, and not bring people from other states that do not know anything about the community. The Miami-Dade County is very diverse. This is one of the most diverse cities in the nation, because even though we're Hispanics, we are not Mexican Americans. We are the majority of Cuban Americans, Colombian Americans, Venezuelan Americans. So usually what happens in DC and the government, they think that everybody's Mexican American. And I give people an example. Are Canadians, people from England and the United States, the same? No, they're not. They just happen to speak the English language. So all of us, like Cuban Americans, Argentinians, Venezuelans, we share a language. The culture is similar, but the foods are different. There's ways of speaking that are different. So in a way, we cannot be categorized as just one people. We're different people. We're united by a language and the culture, and we love each other. But you have to realize that Miami is not Mexican American. And I love Mexico, by the way. I mean, it's a great country, but they tend to not realize that this society here, Miami-Dade County, is completely different. We're very different. And they fail to understand that. They don't realize the differences. And it's important to realize the differences. But more importantly, it's important to promote Hispanics to the positions where they should be. We are not in Hollywood. Only they have Jennifer Lopez as a token, and I don't know a few other actresses. They don't have enough actresses, Hispanic women, nor men in Hollywood. They don't have us in magazines. You open a magazine and they have changed, and I know that that's great for the African American community. They are being portrayed more, but the Hispanics are not being portrayed in the way they should be according to the numbers. We are the largest minority in the United States. So I say to everyone who sees this and is hearing the program, let's practice, like I said in my column. The EI cannot be just 3 words. It has to be practiced. It has to be practiced and enforced, and it has to be done, because if not, it's just nice little words, but they're not being practiced. You're supposed to be promoting people as they should deserve to be, and not in a community that's 70% Hispanic. Bring white Anglos, males, because not even Hispanic men from other states to come here for top positions when they don't even know what this community is about, because it's a very diverse community.
Exactly.
I say it like it is. I say it like it is. You have to speak out, because if you don't speak out and say the truth, then what? Let everybody run all over you? No.
Definitely, we have to speak out.
You have to speak out. This is a democracy, and as a democracy, then we have to hold whoever puts all those labels and all those things in place. They have to be accountable for what they're saying. You're in favor of DEI? Okay, so show it. I want to see the results. Where is it? I want to see. I haven't seen it yet.
Indeed, ma'am. And actually, one question which I also want you to focus on, because when we work with team, this one thing becomes obvious, like conflicts, and there's certain kind of a disagreement, and which is quite obvious, and sometimes it is healthy as well. So I want you to know your thoughts, and also want you to share with our viewers, like, how do you handle disagreements and conflicts with coworkers?
Agreements and conflicts. I'm sorry, could you speak a little bit slow?
How do you handle disagreements and conflicts with co-workers?
Oh, you have to handle it very, very, very diplomatically. I think you should be firm. Of course, you have to be firm and try to connect everybody and try to get everybody to get along. If you don't have employees that get along, then it's a detriment to what you're doing, to your mission and vision, and to the productivity of the organization. And I would say the same thing for companies. The leader has to establish the rules, the way that things are operated, but at the same time, you have to be human, you have to be kind, you have to be strict, but you have to have a team that works together. And if there's some misunderstanding, just set everybody around the table, hear one part, hear the other part, and try to make things work. That's the only way to do it. And if you have a good team, you have to keep them. And the way to keep them is just for them to understand that maybe they don't get along with this other person because of certain things, but let them think and understand that this person is valuable because everybody brings something to the table. This person here is valuable because this person has the communication skills. This person on the other side is valuable, even though that person doesn't talk that much, because that person has the technology. That person has the wisdom and the intelligence for doing everything that we do need to be done digitally. And then it's a lot of people, it's many components, but it works when you have a leader that knows the qualities of all the other people, and you make them aware to the rest of the team, then everybody understands that is team building. You have to let everybody know you're valuable, the other one's valuable. We all bring different things to the table. I'm a communicator. I mean, I'm a leader, but I'm not perfect in many things. I'm not very techie. I mean, for me, even to start to learn about Zoom and all of that, I would laugh. It would took me maybe like about a year to understand all of this, because I am not very handy in these things. And eventually I learned. So everybody, we all have our talents and we all have our little problems, right? Can't be good at everything. Everybody needs someone in order to succeed. If you don't have someone to help you, someone that empowers you to succeed, and I have many mentors, and many have been male, by the way. Don't think when I'm saying that I say to the Anglo men that they bring, I want Hispanic men also to be successful. And the majority of my mentors have been men, and I'm very grateful to Hispanic men that have been mentors to me. Very, very grateful, and particularly my father, of course, obviously. So men are very, very important. So when I say I speak that way, it's not trying to in any way, manner, shape, or form say that I don't like men. It's just that we need more women promoted to positions. But absolutely, we love men. Of course, we have fathers, we have brothers, And they're the ones who have always helped us the most. But we do need the society and the powers to understand that women have to be promoted as well, because we're smart and talented, and we have to be where we're supposed to be, not just housewives.
Indeed, ma'am. Actually, I love the way when you said that we need to be diplomatic while handling the conflicts and disagreements with the team. And ma'am, my next question to you is actually, we have seen the business world has changed dramatically over the last few decades. And now we now live in a connected society where change can be fast-paced, constant, and unpredictable. Rapid advance in technology have created an environment where the internet, smartphones, social media are ubiquitous, and the 2008 global financial crisis and this 2019-2020 pandemic have increased the sense of turbulence, danger, and unpredictability in the certain areas. So I want to know your thoughts. In your opinion, what are the critical skills required to excel in this fast-paced changing world?
You know that I realized during the pandemic that something good happened, that we were able to interconnect with one another through technology, right? Through all these Zoom conferences. I remember we had like 5 months where we always do Zoom, and eventually got the moment that we're Hispanics, so Hispanics need to be together. And we said, you know what, we're going to go live. So back in October, actually even in September of 2020, we started as a Chamber of Commerce to do events outdoors. And then in October, we started doing events indoors, because even though technology brought us together, it got to a point that Hispanics are very warm people. I think people from India are very warm as well. So we're not like Anglos. We cannot be all the time in a Zoom. We need to see each other. We need the personal touch. We need to laugh. We need to do business in an environment that is happy, that is vibrant, that connects you personally. So we did that, and it worked out very well. Nobody got sick because we took all precautions necessary. And what I didn't like was that they tried to control people here in the US too much. I don't know how it was in India, but I think it was very political. The fact that they still, even in this day, they're still trying to, in many states, trying to impose a lot of restrictions. And there were all these surveys and all these, not surveys, but there were all these studies that demonstrated that had the United States not closed their economy, only 0.2% more deaths would have happened. So not that they're not important, but the fact that it really hurt our economy. And now we have all this inflation, and it's created, so the pandemic was good in a way, like technology wise, to grow. And even for us as a chamber, we did grow more than any other organization here, because we took the risk of doing live events. So what happened was that the people that were participating in other organizations that were closed, they came to us. So we captured another audience. So technology, communications helped us capture groups of people that didn't want to be just in Zoom, people that wanted to be in a live event, people that came to our events and didn't get sick, because we do know that only 1% of the population died, and many of the people had comorbidities. That's why we go back. Diet is very important. The food. I know that in the United States, they were saying, hey, in India, people are going to be dying. You're going to see all the dead people in the streets and the sidewalks. And I have a friend from India. And when she went to India, she was so worried. I said, how are your parents? And when she came back, I'm so worried. She said, Lily, it's not that bad. I said, well, here in the United States, they said everybody in India was going to die, because probably you were taking other type of medications that were not allowed here in the United States, because in the United States, big pharma controls everything. So people were not allowed to take any preventive medicines that maybe you in India were able to do so, because here there's a lot of money involved. And so many people died at the beginning. Nobody knew anything. But then, even though we knew that there were other alternative medications, they were prohibited here. And so that's where there's so many deaths here. And then in India, my friend told me, it's not that bad. I'll never forget. I said, oh my gosh, we thought everybody was dying. So that was interesting, right? I know. So this has allowed us, right? She went to India. She's my friend. So she told me, so there's communications. And I've spoken to other people from India, and you communicate with people from other parts of the country. So technology is good for that. Also for realizing that you're able to communicate, and the people can hide the truth from you. Right? They can't hide the truth of things that are happening, because media in the United States is very sort of controlled in a way, and they want you to hear just what they want you to know. And I think that's very wrong, because I come from a country, even though I came when I was a tiny little girl, that's Cuba, and Cuba has a dictatorship. that he was Castro's, and people, the media made him such an important man. And he took that country completely to where it is today, where people just try to get in a plane and go to Mexico, and they cross and walk through the border actually Saturday, I was at an event on a gala, and then this lady that was serving me, she said, oh, I'm from Cuba, I'm a psychologist, but in Cuba, there's not even food for the children. And you would think, right, that a democracy like the United States, Cuba's 90 miles away from here, they don't hold these people accountable. And then I remember President Obama went to a baseball game with the dictator. And I know him and respect the president, but there's things that sometimes the United States does they're utterly wrong. You don't go to a baseball game with the dictator where they have killed people with fire squads, where the people are hungry, where there's no free elections. It's horrible. So there's a lot of things that you see that you wonder what is happening in the world, and what is happening to journalism, what is happening to the networks. Why do they just put, what are these journalists thinking? Why don't they cover things the way they have to be, in the right way? And they're not doing it. So we were thinking that people in India were dying, and you guys are okay. And I'm so happy that you're able to do well, and everything is back to good and normal. And the things here are okay now. So I hope that we stay this way, and that they don't use this as a political method, because I know they've used, the COVID issue has been used for political reasons. It's true that it's bad, it's true that it's deadly, but they try to put people under control, and it should not be. It should not be. We should be allowed to explore, to have scientists, to come up with medicines, alternative, and everything should not be vaccines and vaccines. There's a limit to how many vaccines a body can take. 4 or 5 vaccines a year, it's so much. You're supposed to come up with alternative medicines and not let big pharma control everything and control the world. And it's wrong, because it affects our population. It affects everything.
Yes.
So anyway, I know I started talking about other things.
No. Actually, you have covered some of the very concrete reasons we all need to understand. And I'm happy that it is really great listening your thoughts, ma'am. Actually, you have covered, and this is really great. And I can say there's a much more to learn from you, like, ma'am. But today, I don't want to take too much of your time. So moving to my last question of this session, or it's a kind of a request to you. What will be one piece of advice would you like to give towards the end of this conversation to all my viewers, those who are watching this session?
Okay, my advice would be always to pursue your dream. Do what you like. Don't let people get in your way. Be nice, be empathetic, be a good human being. That's very important, because you transmit that. People know the vibes. I don't know if you understand the word, the vibes meaning the vibrations, meaning you sense when someone's nice, when someone's legitimate, when someone's real. So be yourself and be humble, because sometimes people, they get to the top, they forget. Be humble and be ready always to help. When you, in Spanish, are saying, cuando tú das, recibes. When you give, you receive. That's in Spanish. Cuando tú das, recibes. So always be willing and able to help, to give a hand and support other people. And not only the younger generations, but people of your ages and older people too, because they're very important too. The seniors are very important, because they are our parents and grandparents who taught us. So for us Hispanics, it's very important. The parents, los papás, and los abuelitos. Abuelitos means the grandparents. So those are important too. And the children. And always be respectful. Be respectful of others. And respectful means to accept everything. And but you can, just because you're respectful doesn't mean you're not entitled to a voice, because that's what's happening here in the United States. You're not entitled sometimes to a voice. If your voice is not the one that the government wants to hear, then they shut you down. And that should not be in a democracy.
Yes.
Everybody should be able to speak whatever you want to say, and both sides. And that worries me. We're supposed to be in a democracy, and we're supposed to be able to speak and say what we want to say. And for everyone that's listening, be legit, be yourself, do the best you can, and always be open, and always be assertive, and be nice and kind. And when you give, like I said, you receive. And I thank you so much, Harsh, for the opportunity to be on your show and to say hello. I wish I could visit India one day, and the Taj Mahal. And I've seen a lot of videos, and I see that it's such a beautiful country, and the people are so nice and very warm and welcoming, and you very similar to Hispanics, and very smart people, very talented. I'm very proud.
This is really great, actually. And I must share the advice which you have shared. The people, those who are watching this session, they are surely going to take it. And it was really very wonderful session with you, and we look forward to more such session doing in the future. And thank you so much, ma'am, for your time again. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, yes, absolutely. It was my pleasure as well. Thank you.
It's fine. Thank you, ma'am. Bye. Bye.
On the ground is where I stand. Never give up, that was always the plan. It's so cold outside. I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside. I'm alone.